Does my dog love me? It's a very human question to ask. Doesn't everyone want to know that they're loved? But it's impossible to answer succinctly. You could ask 20 people what love means and get 20 different responses. Philosophers, poets, playwrights and novelists have been wrestling with the nature of love for centuries, while pop musicians have been trying to get to the bottom of it for the best part of 75 years. Just think of all those famous hits. I want to know what love is. Have you ever been in love? Is this love? What is love? What chance do dogs have of fathoming it out? Some more hopeful souls believe science might one day be able to tell us categorically if our dogs love us. As it is, research has shown that dogs are drawn to people pretending to cry, and that relevant parts of a dog's brain responds more emphatically to human praise than to food. But maybe the most compelling evidence of doggy love comes from their urine. The romance. When scientists analysed dog and human wee, they found that both species release oxytocin, that's the so-called love hormone, when they look at each other. And the same thing happens in humans when they're cradling babies and hugging. Remember that the next time your dog goes to the toilet on the living room floor. Maybe he's trying to tell you he loves you. Bless him. Now, the bottom line is, we don't know for sure if dogs love their owners, because you can't sit down with a dog and pour your heart out with a pot of tea and a plate of custard creams. And let's face it, that day will probably never come. An easier question to answer is, do dogs feel emotions? Now, if so, are they the same emotions as ours? Again, dogs can't tell us what they feel, but certain emotions are easier to decipher than something as nebulous as love, which even the most intelligent humans find difficult to pin down. Almost everything we know about dogs is based on what we can observe, whether by owners or by academics in places of learning. Put simply, people try to work out what's going on in a dog's head by how they're acting, in much the same way as adult humans try to work out what's going on in children's heads before they're able to verbally communicate their feelings. Humans have a tendency to anthropomorphize animals. In other words, attribute human traits, emotions, and intentions to them. Now, Walt Disney has an awful lot to answer for. Without meaning to sound harsh to dogs, sometimes we give them a little too much credit. Yeah, dogs are smart compared to most animals, but they're not people, in that their thinking simply isn't as sophisticated, at least not in a human sense. Now, for example, people often get a dog when they're grieving for someone or are feeling lonely, because they believe it will be a direct replacement. Now, that's putting an awful lot of pressure on a dog, because dogs don't see the world quite like us. But in other ways, we don't anthropomorphize dogs enough. For years, dog trainers tended to say, humans are humans, dogs are dogs. And they focused on the differences. Now, dare I say, there was perhaps a hint of, well, we've got these special magical powers that non-dog trainers can't possibly understand. Well, yeah, sure, there are differences. But I've come to believe that there's something like an 80% overlap between basic human and dog behaviour. As the years pass, there's more and more science behind that premise. As such, sometimes we could understand dogs a lot better if we spend more time comparing them to humans and asking the question, right, what could we be thinking in this situation? In other words, sometimes we get into trouble by over-anthropomorphizing, and other times it's the opposite. If this is beginning to sound a bit like a cop-out, I bought a book called Does My Dog Love Me? And he tells me on page 1 he's not going to answer it, well, let me explain. In this book, I've set out to tackle this and many other tricky dog questions that experience has taught me owners want to know. Now, the truth is that for most of them, there simply isn't a black and white yes-no answer. It takes a book to answer them. But this isn't just a book about doggy emotions. It's a book about how dogs perceive and navigate the world, what makes them tick, why they do what they do, and how much they understand us. Or don't, as the case may be. In the following chapters, I'll use all of my experience as a dog trainer, a job I've been doing for 15 years and counting, taking in more than 5,000 dogs and quite a few series of my TV show Dogs Behaving Very Badly to help you fix problems, bring you and your dog even closer, and make everyone involved, man and dog, happier. Any dog, any age, any problem. That's my motto.